my man Hunter from the Ringbrothers.
Yep.
They kill it every year.
Thank you.
At Sema. They did all you guys a favor by not entering Battle of the Builders. Yes. And this is one of three?
One of three, yep.
One of three cars they brought this year.
Yep.
Tell us about this nasty national.
Yeah, so we're going to go over this. We're going to probably try to keep it short, hit a lot of the just major highlights.
Mm-hmm.
This whole car is truly like a race-inspired car, and powering this animal is a Kenny Duttweiler V6. It's tuned to 32 pounds of boost, and on 32 pounds of boost is capable of, or it's running 1,246 horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked to Kenny directly, and he said it's pretty easy, capable of running 45 to 50 pounds of boost without blowing anything up. And at that point, we're pushing 18 to 2,000 horse, so this thing's totally just an animal.
Did you say 50 pounds of boost?
50 pounds of boost, potentially upwards to 2,000 horse.
Did y'all hear that?
Yup.
Holy, so we were talking earlier.
Yes.
One of the things that is mind-boggling.
Yes.
Is the placement for the air filter box.
Absolutely. So
right.
we really try to make things look like how do we clean it up? How do we make it look like people are never going to know what's there and not put in something that looks out of place?
Yeah.
So the air box is actually built into what would look like the firewall. So you can actually see the breathers mounted into it, and that is a section of the air box.
Wow. Now,
going into it, so kind of keeping with the motor aspect, we really wanted to try to minimize any boost lag as possible, especially with like this amount of horsepower. Like if you get a boost lag and it jumps on you and you're not expecting for it, it's easy to get into a pretty rowdy situation. So we tried our very best to keep the tubing as short as possible, and you really can't feel any lag when you jump on it, which is super nice. The other cool thing about this is these cars normally have, so the shells of these cars come over like the main frame of them, but the problem with it is there's only one point of contact, so it's easy for the car to flex compared to like a unibody has a lot more rigidity since the structure goes all the way through. So without making a full unibody but adding structure, the frame of this entire engine bay runs from the front to the rear, and we added extra mounting supports that can be unbolted to stick with that stock system, but make it a solid frame. So you'll be able to see it as we move through the interior and even into the trunk. You can see that exposed frame be really functional.
Wow.
My probably favorite Easter egg this whole car is, so it's a mirrored twin turbo setup on this motor.
Okay.
And on the original Grand National badge, so the Grand National badge has this yellow and red arrow system that is kind of reference to the V6. Because it's a mirrored turbos, we mirrored that symbol to make it uniform. But the really fun part is we actually had some of the CAD from the turbo system. So we to scale 3D printed small little turbos and set them into the badge and then did an epoxy lay over the entire thing. So it's a really cool little tie to the motor of this vehicle.
That's crazy. Now, they could have easily just took a sticker and put it right there, but no. It's the Ringbrothers.
So billet machine, 3D printed, epoxy, hand painted, a whole 9 yards.
Crazy.
Just for the badge.
Just for the badge.
Yeah. And shout out to HRE for making one-off wheels. Really tried to make like a modern feeling, but really stick with that true classic. So we painted the center like how the original ones were, and just try to keep the details that were classic to this Grand National.
Yes.
So moving into the interior, like we were talking about earlier, the main thing that this owner wanted is he wanted to keep it minimalistic and very heavy race. So keeping with the color pattern of the Grand Nationals. But yes, as minimalistic as possible. We really cleaned it up, kind of refined the edges, CNC machine different pieces within it. We got our carbon fiber wheel. We've got a Gentex FDM mirror, which is like a full display camera mirror. A whole bunch of stuff just to kind of like keep it true to like a race environment. And as you can see, the frame that we're talking runs all the way through the car.
This is what you were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Wow.
Something that's kind of a little different on this one. So normally these rear windows have a big gasket that goes all the way around.
Yes.
We didn't like the look of it, so we decided to enlarge the glass to kind of finish to where it was, but then we flush mounted it. It really helps clean up the look of it and give it something that's kind of super unique.
Dude, and it's something that's so subtle.
So subtle, yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
But you're like, something's different, but what is it?
Yeah. So the one other cool thing that you probably won't be able to see on camera unless we angle it down is this car is currently lifted off the ground, and it's because it has a built-in air jack system.
Oh my goodness.
We've got a nitrous tank in the back, and that nitrous tank is what powers the lift support system. And then we've got these safety guards here to kind of help keep it up and not have it accidentally
That is crazy.
fall back down.
Wow. Man. This is like F1 meets muscle cars.
Absolutely. And like with that big power, you got to definitely shut it down. So
Yeah.
with the brakes, we got the Corvette brakes, carbon fiber rotors. We got the 6-piston calipers in the front, 4-piston calipers in the rear. Did a little custom accent with painting the Brembo calipers orange to tie to the accent to the different parts of the vehicle. Just small little details all the way through.
And speaking of small details, you were telling me something about the front bumper is only...
So this whole setup is quite cool. So on the original Grand National, this body line will come to about here, and then it goes straight perpendicular to the ground. It's never really quite looked right. So we continued that body line, extended the body panel. The front bumper normally is a a rubber bumper. We actually have this all milled out of aluminum, both the front and the rear. Where the turn signals used to be, we modified the bumper to be the intake for each of the 2 turbos that would go into it. Custom made the lower valence, and just really tried to do something kind of cool to this car.
Yeah.
So then last thing is we'll go straight to the trunk. So like we were talking about in the trunk, we got the 2 different tanks. The left side tank is for the boosters, and the right side is for the air jack system.
That is insane.
You can kind of see too, like on the fabric that we chose, we tried to really keep with like the carbon fiber feel all the way through. So we got the carbon fiber fabric. We got different components, including the rear spoilers, all carbon fiber, and yeah, just a lot of cool different things.
And another attention to detail is like how you keep the same weave pattern
of
the carbon.
Yeah, really tried to be very consistent with how everything goes together. Everything's kind of like a triangle weave pattern. Keeping fun little Easter eggs, like how you even just fill up the vehicle and open the deck lid.
Whoa! Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that, man. And then you got a cutoff switch for the power.
So if you're ever gonna store the vehicle and you don't want to put on a trickle charger, we got just a master kill switch that can kill all the power and kind of just conserve energy.
Dude, that's crazy.
While we're here, and anything that stands out that you want to know a little bit more about?
Shoot, well, I like how you tie it in. I know the support goes from the engine compartment into the vehicle and exits into the trunk.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Now-
definitely.
Again, again, most people would stop. They'll stop right inside the interior, and that's
Or they
it.
would hide it somewhere else
Or they
and
would
tuck
hide
it
it.
up. And
Yes.
Yeah, no, there's nothing kind of more true than what almost feels like a stripped interior to again keep with that very heavy race environment.
Yes.
So having the exposed roll cage and frame just makes it something really cool to this vehicle, and just how all the different panels are formed around that structure is just something that we try to pay a lot of attention to.
Yeah, and it shows too, because it shows the thought process. It shows how detail oriented you guys are when you're planning these builds or works of art.
Thank you. That means that's
Oh,
a huge compliment.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, seriously. So this is just one of 3 cars
One of
that they're doing.
Yep.
Only one of 3.
Yeah.
So
This car alone, actually, each one of these cars took 5,000 hours a piece. So just collectively at this show, we got 15,000 hours of labor put into these different builds. Yeah.
let that sink in for a minute. Thank you for showing us this
Not a
beautiful car,
problem.
man. And if they allow us to, we might show you something that might itch your eye.
Yeah.